All right. Welcome to the second phase of training, which is working the wings. We spent 13 weeks covering the rules. Now we're going to spend a few weeks covering mechanics. Now, the way this is going to work is that we're not going to be covering all positions of game officials on the field. In a high school game, there are five positions: the referee, which is commonly known as the white hat, the head linesman, the line judge, the umpire, and back judge. So the thing is, when I was coming up with this training program and trying to figure out, okay, we got some training to do. There's so much to cover. Um, and just in the rules, we spent 13 weeks. Do we have time to go over every position and every mannerisms and quirks and no, we don't. So what I did was I devised on a four phase or four tier training program. It's white, blue, red, and black, or level one, level two, level three, and level four. Now, in that levels, we have level one, which covers the head linesman or in a line judge position or the wing positions. Level two will cover the umpire. Level three will cover the back judge. And then level four will cover the referee position. So that way we can focus on a few positions and then move from there. I know some people are like, well, that's a lot of train. That's a lot of four tier. I'm thinking it's going to take 4 years, only because I don't have I don't have all day to prepare these programs. So the first one is working the wings. Now, I've been working on this project in my mind and in my heart for over 15 years. And what I'm asking you all to do right here is to join our lifelong crusade. And when I mean by life, I mean the years I've been an official, okay? Not my entire life. Um, if everybody know me, there's if you had an encounter with me in the past on the football field, I'm always constantly critiquing your mechanics. Probably more than what I should. I probably came a little pecking um, nuisance to some of you all. I've been given colorful names in the past, and I'm identified by colorful names even today. The thing is, my heart is about us being trained as game officials the right way. When I became a game official back in the day, um, they used to give us three different manuals, and one of the manuals was the mechanics manual, which this is going to be the main manual that we're going to be covering um, up for this entire this course. And I remember I read it, I studied it, and I went out there, and everybody was doing everything completely different than the mechanics manual, and we'll talk about that why. Officiating consists of three parts. It's look the part, know the part, and do the part. And I've been piecing this out. I've been talking to a few people here and there, but never ever actually sitting down and putting this all on paper or PowerPoint so that we can learn this and I can leave a legacy behind and we can talk about how important this is. So here we go. We're going to be talking about mechanics. And when I say join our lifelong crusade, what I'm talking about by that is that it seems like I'm the only one doing it, right? I get with an official, I we'll work a game together, and I spend 5 games with that official. And by the end of the day, they picking up some of the things that I'm telling them, like goal line mechanics or how to spot the ball with your downfield foot and some of the other things, and they're doing well. And then they'll go back to their normal crew, and then the next time I seen them, they literally regressed and forgot everything I shared with them. And the reason why is because we're not doing it as a group. right? I have referees out there that are not ensuring that their officials are learning the mechanics correctly. Maybe because they don't know it themselves. So the whole process of this and the whole reason why I say, you know what, it's fine, it's time for me to put this together, because this is what happens. I come out and do a game with you all, and then at halftime, I'm spending halftime where we got to go to the restroom and go get something to eat. I'm spending all that time for us to rest, trying to talk about things I've seen on the field that you all need to work on. And I'm like, that needs to stop. We need to learn it now so that we'll have to go through all that, because I don't see everyone, but iron sharpens iron. If we all work together, if we all hold each other accountable, if we all like learn it together, and we can share, hey man, hey, you forgot to go down and remember to close down the goal line. Oh yeah. Hey man, you forgot to stop the clock. Oh yeah. Or hey, you're not spotting the ball with your downfield foot. Oh yeah. So now we're all on a crusade to make sure that we're getting all trained together. And now we train each other. Now we're sharpening each other and making each other sharp and being better on the football field. Okay. So let's look at these three parts. We're going to really spend most of our time on do the part. But when I was prepping for this and I was going through the football game officials manual, the manual actually discussed all three of these in small portions, but the most of it is dealing with do the part. So let's talk about appearance. Look the part. On page 9 of the game officials manual, it says a game official's appearance greatly affect the attitude of coaches, players, and fans. A sloppy dressed game official will find difficulty in having decisions accepted on the field. Game officials who wears the proper uniform, which is neat, will foster a proper attitude from all concerned. So everything begins on how we look. And I had one official ask me, why do you spend so much time on appearance? Because when I became a game official in the beginning, when I first started over 20 years ago, I remember my mentor told me, if you look the part, you can fool them for almost halfway through the game, right? But if you're coming out there, and it's the easiest thing to fix. How hard is it to wear a uniform that is neat? And we're going to talk about that here in a minute. And just that part is easy. That is the least of all of these levels to accomplish. Just wear a clean uniform. So in high school, dress code and for FHA, and now people still wearing knickers, but most high school associations have gravitated to the black pants, thank God. But you would have a collar shirt, to up maximum of 2¼ inches stripes, a full length black pants, and this is for high school games. Single 1¼ inch white stripe down the leg, black shoes, white accent is acceptable. Baseball cap for the referee is white. For the crew is black with white piping. A black leather belt, and a uniform should fit properly and be clean and neat. Now, for youth, it's a little different. Now, in youth football, some associations still wear the black shorts. We wear the black shorts with the white stripes as well. It's like the pants, but the pants that's cut in the length of shorts. Some of the old timers and some of the associations still want to stick with the black pants, right? But let's go through this. All game officials in a given game are to wear the same type shirt. Now, this is right. You see the asterisk right after the mechanics manual. I say that to say this. We have some officials who be wearing basketball shirts, the V-neck shirts. Those are not the approved shirts to wear for football. They're basketball shirts. But we got some officials out there who like to wear the basketball shirts. And I'm telling you right now, if I see you wearing a basketball shirt, you will not be getting assigned any games. Now, the undershirt that you wear should be black. I've seen gray, I've seen white, I've seen every color, but no, I do see black. But if you wear undershirt under your referee shirt, it should be black. Black socks. I've seen officials come out there with white socks before. Black shoes. Also with white accent is acceptable. You wear solid black shoes. The black baseball cap with white piping for the crew, and then for the referee, white caps. In our association, we do have bucket hats, like the one you see behind me. Um, we wear the bucket. We live in Florida, and that sun be beaming out there. Unlike high school games that's mostly played at nighttime when the sun is down, we do have a bucket hat, and the only bucket hat that you can wear with us is the one with the logo. All right, and all game officials in any given game are to wear the same type of shorts. So again, we'll see everybody. If you don't have the shorts, we here at PGO do sell the whole complete referee uniform, and you can get the black shorts with the white stripes. If you don't have that, we ask that you get that if you plan on working youth games with us. All right. And in the official Edge 2022 training and resource manual, it says on uniform and equipment, it says perception is reality. Officials are judged on everything they do, and those judgments will often not be based on facts, but on what is perceived. Opinions are formed about you from the time you arrive at the game until the time you leave. Now, I have officials that come to games, and they'll come out there with their shirt tucked out, their hat turned on backwards, walking out there in front of everyone. And that's unacceptable. I had officials, I said, man, listen, if you don't want to put your uniform on correctly when you arrive to a game site, then bring a little tote bag, like something like this, and keep everything in your bag. And then when you're ready, dress it, tuck your shirt in, put your hat on correctly, and then step out there in front of everyone. When you come out there looking like I'm just chilling, I'm just hanging out, that really starts off with a bad perception about you. Oh, here we go. It doesn't even know what he's doing out here. Doesn't even care. So right there from the beginning, we want to make sure that when you come on that site, that you come in at there and you dress appropriately. All right. So most of those opinions will have no basis in facts as they relate to your actual officiating. People will make judgments about you whether you're old or young, short or tall, thin or fat, etc. There is nothing you can do to overcome those perceptions on that day, because what the people who are judging you see is their reality. What you have to do is make changes so they change their perception. Lose weight, get a haircut, have a pressed uniform. If possible, change whatever it is that you feel is causing you to be received in a negative light. Give people a reason to form a positive perception and be happy to see you walk on the field. Again, it all begins on how we look. So what I mean by that, let me see if I cover this on my next slide. Give me a second. No, I do not. Okay, so clean and neat. Faded hats or baseball caps that are crushed, like you just sat on it or packed it up in a tough bag, is unacceptable. Your hat should be round, sharp, not crinkled at the top, no curves in it. That's just not appropriate. I've seen officials come out there with black shirts that have turned brown. And I'm like, did you even look in the mirror? Did you even see what you're wearing? Do any official working with you actually see the shirt you're wearing? And no one is saying nothing? We're just going to just pretend like we don't see it. Iron sharpen iron. We need to call that out. Myself and a couple of my other leadership team, we buy shirts every year almost. Because in that hot sun, we wear it for the fall season, and we wear them in the spring, and we do flag football, adult football. The sun will beat that black out of that shirt. And if that shirt is turning brown, buy another shirt. You're making money. You're going to make tons of money. It's no reason to have a decent uniform. The shorts you can probably get away with a few years because they really don't fade as fast. But that shirt fades. That hat, they get the rings in it, it turns brown. Get a new hat. Honestly, you should be buying a new hat every single year. Flags. I've seen flags that turn gold yellow to off yellow, off white yellow. Unacceptable. Everything that we have should be sharp, clean, and ready to go. So, and I'm saying this now, and because I'm telling you, tell anybody these things. I'm gonna tell you what it tells me, and then I'm gonna say this. When I see an official wearing a uniform that is faded, old, then I know he don't. I know he don't care about the rules. If you don't care about how you look, which is the easiest thing to fix, that tells me you don't spend no time in the rule book. You spend no time learning the rules. You spend no time learning your craft. Because if you don't care how you look, you definitely don't care about what you know. So, and that's how I judge you. And as an assigner and as the one that, say who gets what game, trust me, you want to look the part. You say, well, Andre, why I ain't getting a Super Bowl? Andre, why I'm gonna get that tournament? Well, look in the mirror. Look at your uniform. Does that anything to do why I didn't ask you to do a game? Don't know. Let's find out. All right. So the next thing is knowledge. Know the part. All right. And the mechanics manual says to know the rules thoroughly requires constant study. A number of supplemental materials which are designed to help game officials study and become thoroughly competent in the rules have been developed by NFHS. The first part of it says that we should constantly be studying, not back before the season start or a little bit. No, we should be constantly in our rule books. Now, there are supplemental materials that help us be competent. These include the football rule book, the football case book, the football game officials manual, the high school rules simplified and illustrated, the rules by topic, and the preseason study guide. If you ask me which one of these I have all of them. And I read all of them. So it says that to develop a competent official, you need these items, these materials. So my question is, if you don't have those, how can you be competent? How do you know you're competent if you don't have the basic supplemental materials to make you a competent official? Now, the rule book and the football game official manual are part of the training program of PGO Academy. Now, I know a lot of y'all didn't get the rule book, and the reason why y'all didn't get it because we're going into 2003 year, and I could have purchased a 2022 and gave them out, but because we're going into 2023, I held off. So when that new publication come out, I'm going to get those, and all those in the training program who did not get the 2000 get a rule book, you will. Also, everybody should be, and you haven't got it, just let me know, should have the football game officials manual, all right, which we're covering now. So I didn't get the case book because the case book is going to be part of level 2, level 3, and level 4. And I'm not trying to give y'all too much at once, but at least you're going to have those two. It's going to help you towards your competency, okay? So that's the deal on that. Now, there's also other things out there. You have the prep football book from the Referee Magazine. You have the Position Power, Working the Wings, which is right here, which we're going to be also gleaning a lot of information out of, talking about working the wings. You have the Reading Study Guide, and you have the magazines, and you have the Meeting in the Box, which I have as well. Now, that box right there cost me $750 every season. And I use that training materials with you guys. But this is all I have. Do I have all of these? Yes, I do. All right. So the thing is, we need to look the part and we need to know the part. And it only comes through constant studying. And if you want to be competent, you need these materials. All right. So this is why we started PGO Academy. All right. We have workbooks. We have uh, we have everything on Zoom and on YouTube that was restricted. All everything here will get you to that certificate, and all of this is to do one thing: get you trained, to get you educated to be a good, competent, qualified game official. And I'm gonna tell you, not everyone is doing this. Right? Most has for as long as I've been officiating, the the standard method of becoming a football official is fake it until you make it. Right? Just learn a little bit as you go. The problem with that is that if you don't get educated and you don't get into the rules and learn them, you're going to be learning all kind of bad information, and you're going to be doing all kind of bad stuff on the football field. And so I said, man, I'm tired of it. We need to change this, and that's why we started PGO Academy, so that we can have a standard, a platform, so that we can be trained. Now, people tell you, oh, you don't need to do all that. You could just get out there. You don't need to go through no academy. And they're right. They've probably been doing it for 15 years and probably been doing it wrong. But they've been getting away with it. They've been bullying their way through games. But I'm gonna tell you, it is one of my crusades to change that. Because I'm getting with the leagues. And I'm telling the leagues, man, stop using these officials who are not trained. Those officials out there masquerading as a football officials, masquerading as, oh, I'm a referee, or they say I'm a certified high school official, which doesn't mean anything because the state don't certify anyone to be an official. And they'll use these words to get out there, and they're getting paid, and they're getting through. But our job, our goal is to change that. We want everyone to be trained, not trying to be a butt or anything like that. But I mean, it's these kids spend a lot of time in camps. They spend a lot of time in practice. They're not getting paid. The coaches spend a lot of time with these players and spend their own money on these players. And the parents take time off from work. They spend money on their kids to get out there. Why should they have somebody out there getting paid who don't even know what they're doing? It shouldn't be that way, and it needs to change. And that's what we're here to do. All right. So, duties and mechanics, do the part. This is what we're going to be spending the majority of our time on from here on out. The know your part was already done for 13 weeks. And if you haven't sign up, and we'll get you those videos. Now is about duties and mechanics. Okay. The game is administered by game officials whose title and duties are stated in the NFHS Football Game Officials Manual. Again, this book right here. And it says that every game official should study this manual to completely understand the basics of mechanics that have been adopted. All right. Also, in the manual, it says the game official's duties and responsibilities are fixed by rules. This manual is designed to help game officials carry out these duties. Game officials who are familiar with the mechanics and understand their individual duties find the intangible requirements of good officiating usually follow naturally. So it just says if you learn your mechanics, it's going to aid you in becoming a good official. All right. So before we go any further, I want to talk about some things here, because what we're going to be discussing from here on out about mechanics, I'm gonna hear people say, "Well, that's not how my association teaches it," or "That's not how we do it." I promise you, the only thing I'm going to teach from here on out is what's in the mechanics manual. And I know that there's associations out there that do their own thing. So let's find out, why is this such a discouraged thing to do. So it says keep away from the mechanics buffet. Over the years, there have been officials who seem to think that mechanics manual are like buffet lines, chock full of items to be chosen or ignored as the customers see fit. The attitude that they know the one true way and will follow it regardless of what the prescribed mechanics require affects veterans more than younger officials, but some of these later groups are also guilty. The approach is wrong for several reasons. While we may disagree with the mechanics, it is incumbent of all of us to adhere to them. We can go through channels to try to get them changed to reflect our notions of how the field should be covered and how crew members should interact. But if we are unsuccessful, we should bite the bullet and go along. One problem with deviating from mechanics manual is that it can lead to even more inconsistency on field calls. Most officials have healthy egos, and the longer they work, the greater the tendency is to think that they know the best how the particularly played situation should be handled. However, in the interest of uniformity, among other things, the best approach is to check your ego at your locker room door and do things by the book. We can cause many problems for ourselves and our crews and the crews in our leagues or association if we don't. So it's basically saying that, hey, you might not agree with everything in the manual, but go by the manual. All right. So MSU makes stuff up. It is incumbent, again, this is 2019. The other one was 2018. It was in that referee edition. It was stated again the next following year. It is incumbent on us to know and follow to the letter the mechanics prescribed. If you think there's a better way to do something, go through the channels to effect change. But in the meantime, put your ego in your pocket, know what the mechanics are, and adhere to them without modifications. Remember, they weren't developed by idiots. They're the product of a lot of thought by a lot of experienced people who have seen almost every conceivable happen on the field and have shifted through options for positioning and play coverage and have chosen what seems best. Being a maverick also sends the wrong signal to other officials, particularly new ones. Why should they think they need to do things correctly if they see other people doing things seeing others people doing their own thing? And if it's okay to dispense with or alter the mechanics manual, why isn't it okay to ignore other policies that they've been implemented? One of the aspects of true leadership is to set the right example instead of taking the do what I say, not what I do approach. Virtually every official has encountered a mechanic that made him or her wonder what a nutcase thought it up. But we should check our doubts and personal beliefs at the door and go with what has been mandated. There are far more benefits in doing that than there are charting our own course and making stuff up as we go along. So I wanted to put those in front to let you know, yes, we're going to probably talk about some things that you do not do in your association. But the thing is like this, you know what? In basketball, they only got one mechanic for 3-man and 2-man. For baseball, they only got one mechanic for baseball. And even for soccer. But when it comes to football, we have all this MSU, all this buffet and make stuff up and mechanics. And the thing is, when you get a new official, and we want to have a standard. So when we give you the manual, we want you to study the manual and we want you to go by the manual. So why is it like that? In my opinion, the reason why we have so much crazy stuff, because officials don't read the mechanics manual. I think if you want to have a 100% change in how we do things, I guarantee it starts with just reading. taking the time to read. I know officials who have several rule books. They got one in the bathroom when they go sit on the toilet. They got one in their car. They got one in their room. They have several rule books so that they can always constantly be in their rule books. So I think the biggest challenge that we have when we get down to dealing with other officials and seeing other things is that some of them just don't read. Their rule book look just like this, like it never been opened. If you go to mine, it's faded, it's crinkled. Why? Because I read it constantly. And that's what when I go out there and I see everyone, I talk to you about mechanics, I'm not coming up with this stuff off my head. I'm telling you stuff that if you just simply read, you will know. All right. So let's get into this. Now, what is mechanics? We say it a lot. It's like this word. So I've created a definition for mechanics so that when we say mechanics, you understand exactly what we're talking about. So this is my little definition for mechanics. A system game officials use to communicate, to determine areas of focus, or what we call keys, and to know their field position and prescribe movements during a down. So mechanics, and what the mechanics manual teaches us, is how we communicate with one another. Who are we looking at on the field? Are we all looking at the runner? Are we all looking on the other side of the field? Or am I supposed to be looking somewhere else? Where am I supposed to be on the field? What am I supposed to be doing? Where do I stand on a kickoff? Where do I stand on a scrimmage play? What do I do once the ball is snapped? What do I do once the ball is kicked? All of this is talked about in the manual. And unlike rules where we have judgment, where we can decide, is that a hole or not a hole? Is that pass interference or not pass interference? When it comes down to mechanics, there's no judgment. It's just do it the way it says it in the book. All right. So what we're going to do before we get into talking about the line judge and what his duties and responsibilities or her duties and responsibilities are, or before we go talk about the head linesman and what their duties and responsibilities are, we want to talk about the 8 topics intended to get into the mindset in the mindset of a wing official. So we're going to talk about the starting position, crew communication, pre-snap responsibilities, stop clock mechanics, squaring off, downfield foot, and don't give up on a play, and goal line mechanics. So when I go out to a field, and it only takes me 5 minutes to know if you are other officials are trained. 5 minutes. I'm looking at your mechanics. I'm looking at how you're moving on the field. I'm looking at how you're communicating on the field. I'm looking at you and your crew, and I'm like, yeah, they need work, or yeah, they got it. And then if I see some things now, at halftime I'm talking to you, and I'm peck like an annoying parent, and I know y'all tone me out every once in a while. So I'm gonna try to be cool and calm and collective. So I'm gonna try to get on my soapbox when we get in these 8 topics. But this is where we start. And there's a lot to this. It's not something that you can, okay, so officiating is a skilled trade. And it requires you being trained in that skill. It's not something you can just pick up out of the air, or you just pick up, just get on the field. You're not going to pick this stuff up. You have to be taught this. You have to be trained this. And that is what we're doing. We're trying to train you to know it right. There's a difference between a trained and untrained official. And as we teach you this, remember, iron sharpens iron. When you see a crewmate not executing these topics, or not doing it correctly, remind them, hey, remember, you're supposed to be here. Or remember, this is how we communicate. Or remember, we're supposed to stop the clock. The same thing I do with each and one of y'all. Join me on this crusade, and let's all do it together. So let's talk about the first thing, the starting position. This goes for both wings. In the manual, you're supposed to straddle the line of scrimmage and be 1 yard beyond the sideline. So even in this picture you see right here, this game official is too close. Now I see officials on the field, they be like at the numbers, they be somewhat on the field. And that is not where you start at the beginning of a snap. Even on a free kick, you're supposed to be 1 yard off the line at your yard line. So the thing is, why? Why are we supposed to be 1 yard off? What is the whole thing of that? And we're going to talk about here in a minute. But again, if you're looking to get certified and you're looking to be graded, you need to be 1 yard beyond the sideline, so that when I come and we grade you for your certification, if you're not, you're gonna get an X, right? And not too many X's you can get. So we got to make sure that we all start off the field. So in the book Working the Wings, it says the wider view would give a better perspective and more time to look. Also, you don't want to be part of the play. If you're biking up and trying to get out of the way, your priority becomes survival and your officiating will be less effective. All right. So I've seen officials biking up, running back to get out the way, or they will stop and let the players run around them. And you never want to let a player between you and the sideline, ever. But that's what they do. They run around. So again, you're going to hear me always tell you, get off the field. I don't care if they flag. I don't care if it's 8U. You're learning bad habits. Stay off the field. The starting position is off the field. Okay. And a point of emphasis that came out by NFHS. It says this: linesman and line judge positioning. It is important that the linesman and line judge begin each position on the sideline outside the field of play. The linesman and line judge should start each play aligned opposite each other, straddling the neutral zone, working just out of bounds, but inside the restraining line that aligns with the respective sideline. This will help the wing officials with several field management duties. Player and non-player safety are as well as sideline control, with the prospect for clear communication between the game officials and coaches is very important. Positioning along the sideline allows the action to be in front of them. Working wide will give the linesman and line judge a broader view of the play and complete outside in coverage while keeping their play box in. Working outside the field of play will also prevent game officials from having players lining up or positioning behind them. It is essential to begin each play wide. This gives the game official a better perspective with a wider peripheral view for better officiating opportunities. Again, start off the field. You can see right here in this picture, the coaches are all on the field. Now the players heading toward us, and already the officials on the sideline. But I'm gonna tell you what coaches do. You move up, they move up. You move back, they move back. I remember I had a coach tell me one time, I was telling him, back up, back up. They're like, you're supposed to be on the field anyway. I'm like, what? Yeah, you're supposed to be on the field. You're not even supposed to be off the sideline. I'm like, okay, coach. But he probably worked so many games with untrained officials that they all be on the field. So he naturally assumed that everybody's supposed to be on the field. All right, before the game, you should stake your claim to the 3-yard belt. The coaches know they can't be there from the time the snap is imminent until the ball is dead. It's really high school. Everybody should be doing it, but it's definitely at the high school level. For youth, we done gave up that right. But for so long, so many untrained officials have been allowing these coaches to scoot up that sometimes it don't even, we'll spend more time arguing about them biking up than anything else. So a lot of times, even us, we just don't want to, get in the argument. So we just let them do what they want to do. But if we all work together, we can start pushing these coaches back where they belong. But they'll creep up any chance they get. When you're working in the white, use all of it. The coaches won't have a choice but to be behind you. Again, we want to keep the coaches back, because I'm telling you, I seen officials get the ACL torn because the players running that way and they have nowhere to go. We're supposed to be biking up out the way, but we got coaches behind us, players behind us. We're running down the sideline. We can't see the sideline. I tell coaches all the time, Coach, he stepped out of bounds. I'm like, Coach, and I couldn't see it. You was in my way. So guess what? He didn't step out of bounds in my viewpoint. So you gotta let the coaches know it's to your benefit to be out of our way, because how I'm gonna know if he stepped out of bounds if you're in my way? How do I know when he caught the ball he didn't get 1 foot in if you're shielding me and I can't make my call? All right. So it's time to get the coaches behind us, bike them up. Definitely the players. I always keep. Sometimes I don't fight with the coaches much. They work with me. Coaches can go to my. If I'm going to the right, go to my left side. I'm not going to sweat it. I don't got time to be arguing with you. But again, starting position is off the field. All right. So we see the official here. You can barely see him. This coach is in the wrong spot. All right. So let's get this over with. I'm going to finish up crew communication and then we'll end it for the day. So, crew communication. The correct use of game officials' signals provide the only means for the crew of game officials to communicate with coaches, assistant game officials, and fans. This important aspect of officiating is the only means through which decisions can be relayed. The signal, as adopted by the Football Manual Committee, are dignified, informative, and meaningful. Poor executed and unauthorized signals serve only to confuse the situation and impair communication. So again, I and that last part, unauthorized signals. I remember, I don't really see it that much, but I remember a few years ago, I seen officials stick their hand out in the front of them. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they'd be like, well, I'm letting my other official know that the player is on the line. I'm like, what? So you're sticking your hand in front of you to let your crewmate know that the player next to you is on the line? He said, yeah. I said, okay. So if he's off the line, what do you do? And they say, well, I punch him back. And then I say something that they kind of look at me kind of weird. I say, do you know that the absence of a signal is a signal? They look at me. I'm like, if this means he's off the line, and if I'm not doing that, then what does it mean? It means he's on the line. So this signal to say somebody's on the line is pretty much useless. It's just adding a signal that you don't have to do because it's not in the manual. So you're just adding a signal for whatever reason when you have this signal. So if my player near me, the closest to me, is off the line, I'm going to punch him back. I'm letting my crewmate know that he's off the line. But if I'm not punching him back, that means he's on the line. So I don't need to do this. And I'm just, that's what I'm like, I've been seeing that signal, like, what is all that? And then some other unauthorized signals like out of bounds or juggling the ball or uncatchable. All those unauthorized signals in the National Federation High School, we don't have those signals. But again, let's get started here. All right. So the straight fist, right? So this signal right here, fist extended straight out with the elbows not bent and thumb up, is in the fist, indicating that you have 11 players in the game when counting is complete. Now, as wing officials, we count B, which is the defense. The referee and umpire counts the offense. Now, I know in some associations, they got something where if he's on your side, you count them, and if they're on you count the team on your side, offense or defense. That is not in the manual. The manual does not instruct us to do that. That's just something that I guess some people made up because they don't have a manual to read. But according to the manual, the wing officials count the defense, and the referee and umpire counts the offense. So when you count the defense and you have 11 players, your hands go in front of you. Now, and that doesn't mean that my nearest player is on the line. It means that I have 11 players. Okay. Now, and it should be done on every play. Again, I see officials not even doing it. They just sit there like they got nothing to do. Where there's a lot of things to do before the ball is snapped or before the ball is kicked. You're supposed to be counting your defense and you're supposed to be extending that hand to your other wing official or back judge to let you know that we have 11. So what if we don't have 11? Well, we have this signal right here, which means that I have less than 11. So if I have less than 11, I'm gonna put I'm gonna put off hands wide, fingers spread out on my chest. I'm letting my official know across from me that we have less than 11. At that time, if the defense is on your respective sideline, you should tell the coaches, count your players. We never give the coach a number. Like, coach, you only got 10, or coach, you only got 9. We never give out a number because we could be wrong and we can be adding a 12th player on there. So, and we're kind of like coaching too. So the best way to do it is say, coach, count your players. All right. Now, if they have more than 11, and this is where I'm going to contradict myself a little bit. There's actually is not a prescribed recommended signal for this more than 11. Okay. So I've seen things where people say put 2 fingers up. I don't like the 2 fingers because you're so far away, and we already doing this saying that we have less. So I always tell my crew to give the signal for illegal substitution. All right. So it's not recommended. I'm just saying this is how we do it. I told you I'm gonna let you know when I do it. It's pretty much like the only thing I avert from or add is we just put our hands across our chest so we can easily see that. Now I'm saying, hey man, I'm counting more than 11 on the field. So that means recount to make sure, and definitely let the coach know that he need to count his players. We're not gonna say you got 12. We're gonna say, coach, count your players, because if the ball is snapped, we're gonna have to call you an illegal substitution foul. Okay. This signal right here, this signal extends out from the arm. This signal of the wing officials indicate that the players nearest the wing official is off the line of scrimmage. This is very important because in the backfield, there can be no more than 4 players. So when I'm extending my arm, because a lot of times my other wing official can't tell if the closest me is on or off. So I'm punching back, say, hey, yeah, my guy is off. And if he's punching back or she's punching back, that means her player's off. So we should only have 2 other players in the middle, like the quarterback and a back or a slot somewhere else. But when we punch back, it just letting us know that my player's off the line. Make sure we only have 4 players in the backfield. Okay. Also, the same signal is given by R unless immediately thrown after the snap, in which case the wing official will give this signal, which means the pass was thrown backwards. Okay. So if it's not an immediate pass, the referee always have priority on of a pass of forward and backwards. So if a pass is thrown and you see the referee punching back, that means the ball was thrown backwards and it's live. So if it hits the ground, do not blow your whistle. Okay. Now, if it's thrown immediately, if your referee say, hey, if it's thrown immediately, I want you to make that call, wing officials, then once it's thrown, you'll punch back. And the best way to do this, because it happens so fast, you don't have to be quick on the whistle when the ball hits the ground. Look at each other. Look at the referee. Look at your far official. If anybody's punching back, then hold the whistle. But if you don't see no one's punching back, then kill it immediately. But you don't have to be so quick to kill it, because I seen passes thrown backwards, and I punch it back, send it a backwards pass, and then my wing official is blowing it incomplete because he didn't look up at me. Look up. It's okay. I mean, what's going to happen? They're going to pick it up and run it. Oh, okay. But if he runs it and it's incomplete, then we're going to blow the whistle. Most likely, I will probably blow the whistle because I didn't punch it back. So you'll see me blowing a whistle for a screen pass incomplete. Also, to let some of you all know, a live ball is not determined if it's thrown behind the line of scrimmage, but if it's thrown forward. So a forward pass, no matter if it's behind the line of scrimmage or beyond the line of scrimmage, if it hits the ground, it's dead. I hear a lot of coaches say, but it was behind the line of scrimmage. It doesn't matter. If the pass was thrown forward, it's an incomplete pass if it hits the ground. it's not live because it was thrown forward behind the line of scrimmage. The only balls that are live when it hits the ground are passes thrown lateral or backwards. Okay. All right. So this signal here indicates that more than 10 yards to go before a first down to prevent accidental stopping the clock. So we call this double stakes, right? So if we have the chains and and the ball, the down box is beyond that. We want to let everybody know, hey, listen, just because we passed the first stake don't mean we're going to stop the clock like it's a first down. It's double stakes. They got 2 stakes to cross to get a first, so that everybody be on the same page. And we'll talk about who should initiate that in the game. With again, anybody can, but it's one position I look to most to initiate that, and we'll talk about that when we get into positions. All right. So this is this mechanic has changed a little. The arms cross at the wrist in front of the waist as the last play was out of bounds and start the clock on the snap. So the wing officials, what's going to happen is if the ball go out of bounds and the clock needs to, it's not going to start a snap. When the referee comes up, he or she might not know the status of the ball. So when you put you cup your hands in front of you, you're signaling to the referee, we're going to start, the clock going to start on the snap. So it's not going to start on the ready. So don't wind the clock. All right. So this right here, the finger wind at the waistline is opposite. It says start the clock on the ready. So again, the clock is stopped for either a first down or whatever the clock is stopped, mostly for a first down. You're going to, when the referee comes up, you're going to give him a little wind of the finger, let him know to start the clock before the snap. Okay. All right. So again, Guardians, go back over this. We're going to cover a lot, and there's a lot of moving parts to the game. And this is how you earn your stripes. Okay. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot to remember. And sometimes it can be very cumbersome to remember all this information. All right. But we got faith in you. All right. So runner down inbound signals. So those are all internal crew signals. So what do we do if the runner is down inbounds? There's 2 different signals. One, this is what we call our runners down dead ball. Okay. So as soon as the play is over, we're going to throw our hands up and we're going to blow the whistle. All right. I'll blow the whistle, throw your hands up. Don't make a difference what combination you like. This just means it's over, right? The play is over. This also signifies for the play clock to start. All right. There's 3 signals that the play clock operator or whoever got the play clock is looking for to start the play clock. This is one of them. Once the covering official throws his hand up, the 40-second play clock will start. That means the ball is dead and blow the whistle. So what if we got a first down? Okay. So if we got a first down, we're not going to do number 7. We're going to go to number 3. All right. Runners down and it's a first down. The ball is dead. All right. Again, unless this is a timeout, when the play clock operator sees this, they're going to start the play clock. Okay. This means start the play clock. The play is over, first down. All right. So again, these are signals that you need to know. Very simple right now. If you watch football, you pretty much know that. What about an incomplete pass signal? All right. So this is the incomplete pass signal. Now, Tony, he always getting me on this one because we see a lot of officials doing this for incomplete pass. This is actually illegal shift. The incomplete pass signal is actually crossing over and then out. Crossing over and then out. This is the incomplete pass signal, not this. All right. Always signal twice. It does. The mechanics manual says signal twice when giving this signal incomplete pass. And so let's talk about a little bit more about this. Stand up straight. So in one of my old articles, it says posture and body language are important elements in officiating, particularly in signaling. There are a few signals, clipping and blocking below the waist, that come to mind that necessitates bending at the waist. but vast majority of signals should be given standing with a straight back. The play pick illustrated as one of the most often bent over signals, the one for incomplete pass, penalty or penalty decline, etc. An official using that posture or moving his arms looks slightly looks silly and will appear to be doing the Charleston. Younger readers may have to ask an older official to explain that analogy. But suffice, it says bending over in that manner should be avoided. So you shouldn't be bending over going incomplete, right? Stand up straight, good posture, incomplete, pass. All right. So now, for some of my veteran officials, we're almost done. Some of my veteran officials. This is one that I still see, and let's talk about it. So when a player is down near the sideline and there's a first down, in the past, we're supposed to wind the clock and then we're supposed to stop the clock. We use a two signal mechanics. It's wind and then stop. But today, because I'm glad you are on this call and those watch the video, guess what? This is the wrong mechanic. This mechanic has been changed. And we're going to talk about why. So in the mechanics book, let's look at this. It says, if the ball becomes dead near the sideline within 2 yards behind the line to gain, the covering official shall use normal coverage. And after determining the ball is dead, give the start clock twice. So now the start clock signal does not tell the play clock operator to start the play clock. That is not one of the three signals to start the play clock. It is dead ball signal, incomplete signal, and stop clock signal. Okay. So the way this will work, you'll go, the ball is dead, and then you'll wind it twice. Okay. So what do we do if we have a first down and we're 2 yards in? What the mechanics manual says is, if the ball becomes dead near the sideline and a first down is gained, the cover official shall use normal coverage, and after determining the ball is dead, stop the game clock with a timeout signal twice. Okay. So why don't we wind the clock and then stop it, or why shouldn't we do that? And why they changed that? Well, what the rules committee found out was during critical times in a game where time matters, it says it's like 15 seconds on the play clock and the team is down by a touchdown. When you wind the clock before stopping it, you're still allowing excess of time to run up the clock when it shouldn't. So what you need to do is stop the clock immediately. So we don't want to put that team at a disadvantage by having the clock run for a few more seconds before we stop it. So they eliminated the whole wind it, then stop it, because it was taking crucial time in the last eve of the game when that team need every second it gets. So we don't do that anymore. So what happens when we stop the clock and now the referee is coming up? What do? We wind it. We give him the wind signal, right? Is he coming up or has she coming up? We say, all right, start the clock on the ready. All right. So let me see. Anything else? Let me see. Oh, yeah. So that's in that. So I know a lot of associations, veterans still do the wind and stop. Again, I check your ego at the door. We're just talking about what the mechanics manual says now. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to teach you what the mechanics manual say right now. So if you're doing it differently, this is the way it's supposed to be done. Now, wing official, let's talk about the touchdown signal. Because I see this a lot, and I'm always trying to explain to officials about this as well. We do not mirror touchdown signals. I don't know why you think you have to, but we don't. All right. Two, two officials mirroring a spot of forward progress is strongly recommended. Many would say required, part of officiating. But mirroring signals can often be dangerous and should be avoided in play pick. In the play pick, the official in the background is signaling a touchdown because he has the sight of the runner, the ball, and the goal line. The official on the foreground cannot see the first two elements. If the official signaling a touchdown is wrong, and the other official is foreground signaling, both officials appear to have missed the call. So you don't have to mirror touchdown signals. I see two officials running down the field, one is signaling, the other one coming signal like selling it. It's not necessary. So like I would tell if the player's running, the runner's running the one official's way and it crosses near him, he signal a touchdown. The other official don't have to signal touchdown. If a ball goes in tight, like you see on this picture right here, if you don't see the ball and you don't see the goal line, but you see the other official signal touchdown, then that's his touchdown or her touchdown. It's not yours. Do not mirror the touchdown signal. Okay. And that is it